Hello YouTube. So today I'm going to be replacing my door handle. It is sticky and gooey, and this is a common issue with BMWs. So this is a E90 328i 2009 BMW, and I went ahead and bought the parts on Amazon. It comes in two pieces. If you want to replace both the inside and the outside part, you have to buy the two pieces separately. I'll have the links for these pieces in the description of the video, but here's one of the pieces. This is the outside part and this is the inside part. Again, you buy these separately, and also it comes with screws. Now here are the tools I'll be using. You're gonna need a drill and some drill bits. I'm not sure which size I'm gonna need, but I have all the different sizes, so I should be good. Got a little magnetic tray here to hold screws I'm gonna remove. This part here is like a door panel removing set. I bought this on Amazon while I was buying the door handles. I went ahead and bought this as well because I didn't have any. But if you have any of these, you're probably just gonna need a couple of these, maybe this one and this one or this one. But if you have something like this, you don't need to go buy a whole set. I just did, just so I know I have it. So you're also going to need a bit set. Well, not a whole set. I'm not sure which one I'm going to need, but I have a whole set handy. I believe we're going to need a star bit. I'm not sure which size. But yeah, so I'll let you guys know as soon as I take the panel off. First, we're going to start off by removing this trim and then the outer part of this handle. And then eventually we're going to make our way into removing the whole panel. To start removing it from the inside, going this way out. So it takes quite a bit of pressure. I'm trying to be gentle with it, but I'm noticing that it's going to really take some pressure to pop them out. Each individual joints that are inside the plastic parts. So this is what they look like. They're just little squares and little bolts go into them, and that's how they're held in place. So still be careful not to break these. Once you take that trim off, inside these gaps, there's like gaps between the door handles, the plastic. And within these gaps, you're gonna look inside and you're gonna see some screws. So you're gonna have to remove those screws. Those are the ones that have the star-shaped heads on them. So another thing I found is you can't use something short like this. It won't fit all the way in and reach the screw. You could use something like this, a little bit longer, but I find it that it's harder the screws are pretty tight. It's hard to turn your wrist like this. So the easiest way to do it is, if you have it, is to use something like this. This way you have a lot more leverage to turn the screws. It's a little bit more comfortable. So here's what the screw looks like. So the bit you're gonna need is a Star T20 to take these screws out. Remove this outer part of the handle. I think I could probably just do it with my hands, with my fingers. Or maybe not. Let's use a tool. Just pops loose like that. Note that this outer part doesn't seem to be sticky, so I didn't really have to buy a new one, although I have, so I'm just going to put it on. But for you guys who are wondering, yeah, this part doesn't seem to be sticky or messy. It seems only the inside part that deteriorates. Okay, so next I'm going to go ahead and remove the whole panel, this front part. Notice that I have the window rolled all the way up and the door is locked. The reason why I locked the door is the little pin that you use to lock and unlock the door up here. You don't want that sticking out. You might accidentally break it off. Same with the window. Just roll it up so it's kind of not in the panel area. This way you don't damage it. While trying to take this back panel off, the door panel off, I noticed that there's pressure in this area, and I'm starting to realize that it might be because of the screw that I left here. So I'm going to go ahead and take the screw out first. So I'm going to go ahead and give this another try. Most of the panel is already off, just that area there I need to take out. Yep, that was it. It was that screw. So once you take the panel off, you have to be very careful. There's quite a few wires in here connected to things, and you don't want to lose sight of what's connected to what. So I'm going to go ahead and try to show you guys as best I can what I'm connecting and disconnecting here. So this part here is for the door handle. Just note to myself, this green wire was connected to the top part, and this other wire here that's covered was connected to the bottom. So things didn't go as planned. I've been trying to remove this wire here and a couple of these wires down here and here, but they are very, very hard to remove and pull out, and I'm afraid I'm going to break them. So instead what I've decided is to just lay it as it is on top of a chair like that. And I'm just going to go ahead and work on this inside part this way, instead of completely removing it and putting it on this table here. To do is I need to drill out this part here that's holding the top part of the handle in. They're plastic and they're just kind of molded in place, so there's no screws or anything. You're just gonna have to drill it out. And the bottom portion here as well, there's two of them, you're gonna have to drill it out. The new one that you put on in place, if you buy the same one I'm gonna link to, it comes with screws. So instead of having to deal with stuff like this, you just screw it in place. So it looks like I got one of them out completely. The other one, this lip just doesn't want to come off. So I'm just gonna grab a chisel and try to see if I could just pry it off, or some sort of screwdriver like a flathead or something to pop this out. Alright, so this one's complete. I'm going to go ahead and move to the bottom side now. So here's the inside part. Alright, so next up I'm going to go ahead and fit this from underneath the door into its place. Alright, so the handle the bottom part doesn't fit. The reason why is because when I drilled it out, I didn't drill through all the way, and these things need to go all the way in. So you need to use a drill bit that matches this exact size. And this is the one here. I believe it's 5/16. Alright, so I finally got the bottom and the top to work. You can see it's a nice tight fit. Doesn't wiggle if you try to move it. Same with the top. It fits nice and snug, no wiggling. So the next step is to go ahead and pop in the screws from the other side. Go ahead and get the top part in first. These screws have a nice large flange on the top, and that will go ahead and hold it in place. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and put the panel back on. I went over all the wiring, made sure everything's tight and in place, and I didn't forget anything. I also taped some of it the way they had it taped, because I had to pull off some of the tape from the wiring. Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and first thing I'm gonna do is gonna make sure this gets in the right place up here, and then from top down I'm just gonna pop it in back in place. Before I put the bolts in the bottoms here, or the long screws that I took out, I'm gonna turn on the car and make sure everything works. Make sure the light on the bottom works, the speaker works, the window goes up and down, and the door handle works, and all that stuff works. And once that's good, and I'm sure it's gonna be okay, I'll go ahead and put in the screws in the bottom and then pop the trim back on, and then handle the rest of the door handle. I just tested everything out, the light at the bottom, the door handle, the locks, the windows from both the other side and from the buttons here, and everything seems to be working fine. I listened on the speakers, both the one over here and the one up there, and those are working fine as well. Alright, so I got the 3 screws in. The next step is to pop on the top part here and see what it looks like. So yeah, this top part doesn't want to go in. I'm not too sure what I'm going to do about that. I'm going to try to work it a little bit more, see if I can get it. But if I can't get this top part in, I'm not sure. It doesn't really bother me too much, but if in the end, ultimately, I can't get it in, I'm just going to leave it as is. Alright, so that's that. It's very tight and solid. It doesn't seem to wiggle or move around or anything. I'm going to go ahead and put the trim back on now. When putting the trim back on, you could see that there's this little hook right here. That hook goes on this side of the door, so I suggest you hook it in from that side and then pop it in this direction, this way. And that's it, guys. It wasn't too bad. You know, you have to be patient. Take your time so you don't snap anything. This is all plastic you're working with. And the trim is in place. The handle is nice and tight, solid. Definitely feels good. And the material on it definitely matches the rest of the car's material. And this inside part is nice and smooth. And see how long this is going to last, but so far so good. Thanks for watching.